strategies for how to use HomeFundIt. Again, I'm Doug Nesbitt. My contact information is at the front here on the front screen. I'll also have it at the end, and at the end of the presentation, I've got a quick start kit that you can use, a HomeFundIt starter kit, and I'm going to put that in chat at the end of the presentation and share that with you guys. It's a zip file that you can download, and lots of goodies in there and everything like that. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get the show on the road. I also like to start off with a little bit about the company, since we always have a lot of guests on the call. This is open to loan officers and real estate agents. So a little bit about CMG. Company is now 30 years old. It was originally founded in a garage in Pleasanton, California by Chris George. He's our president and CEO. Recently the chairman of the MBA, large privately held mortgage bank. We're top 15 lender, loan officers all over the place, everywhere. Top level product assortment that you might expect from a top lender. And we actually probably have more program offerings than just about any lender out there. Plus a couple proprietary programs that you definitely want to get to familiar with. One is HomeFundIt, which is what we're going to talk about today. And the other is the all-in-one loan. It's the loan I have on my house. It's the loan you'll want on your house. I call it the most powerful loan on the planet. It'll change the way you think about mortgages and money forever. So be sure to get to know that program as well as one of our proprietary programs. But we're here to talk about HomeFundIt today. So what does it do? What is HomeFundIt all about? Well, really, it's all about solving the number one problem that buyers have out there, which is the down payment. A lot of mortgage ready folks. In fact, I was doing the math the other day. There are 10 times as many mortgage ready customers as there are people in the market today. So if you can help people get over the down payment hurdle, that's the one that they're struggling with. The other thing that HomeFundIt does, very strategic, is it allows you to reach up the purchase funnel and grab onto prospective buyers who aren't ready to go today. That is one of the huge angles on HomeFundIt. We'll spend a lot of time talking about that. And thirdly, once they buy, HomeFundIt has been proven to generate more downstream referrals than any other program we've encountered. So 3 exciting things we'll be talking about today. But let's start with the first-time homebuyer, because they're struggling. Front page issues that we all know and love: high home prices, rising rents, and student debt. These are the things that slow down your ability to save for a down payment. So it's no wonder that when you talk to renters today, 70% of them will tell you that the down payment's the number one problem. And it's very important to kind of look at the landscape of buyers out there today. A lot of the pressure in the marketplace for buying homes is coming from the millennial generation. Average age of millennials is about 32, 33, which happens to be about the same as the average age of buying your first home. So first-time home buyers are driving the market these days. When you look at people who are dreaming, wishing, wanting to buy a home, prospective buyers, people who have it on their list, most of them are first-time buyers. But when you look at who's in the market today buying homes, it drops down pretty dramatically. Current buyers, the number is around 32% recently. It's been as low as 26% recently. So first-time buyers struggle a little bit. And the reason is it takes them a long time to save up for the down payment, 3 to 4 years on average, according to the NAR. And when you look at the number of prospective buyers versus the number of current buyers, the number of current buyers is about 4 million a year, people making home transactions in a year. The number of prospective buyers out there who are mortgage ready is about 43 million, according to Freddie Mac. So there's 10 times as many people on the sidelines as there are people in the market. That is huge. If you have a tool that can help more of those prospective buyers get off the sidelines and onto the playing field, you're going to have a bigger pipeline. So that's a huge bit of perspective to start this meeting with. Now, when buyers work on that down payment, of course, they can save, but they can also get some help from other people, and that's down payment gifting. It's kind of a weak process, though. When you take a look at who actually helps with down payment gifting, it's parents in about 23% of cases. Even though under Fannie, Freddie, FHA guidelines, other relatives can help, but they usually don't get asked. And the reason is things that we all know. Paper checks, you got to chase those down. You got to get gift letters from people. There's confusing sourcing rules around who can give and who can't give. And the buyer doesn't know that stuff anyway until it's kind of late in the process. You're sitting down with the loan officer and saying, okay, this is where my down payment's coming from, and mom and dad are going to help us a little bit. And there's really no time or energy to go back out to all the other relatives and chase down paper checks and gift letters and sometimes financial statements, right? So the process is pretty laden with friction. And we said, hey, let's take the friction out of that process and make it so that people can donate online with a debit or credit card like they do everything else today. No offline paperwork. And that lets all of those relatives, grandparents and aunts and uncles, everybody, to be able to help with that down payment if they so choose. Anyone can give on HomeFundIt. So we've opened it up even wider so that friends, teammates, cousins, which is normally not a relative, wedding guests, other people can give up to $5,000 per donor, no maximum on how much they can raise, no commissions or hidden costs. And a big one, there's no time limits. You can start these as early as you want. There's no age limit. You don't have to have a loan in place. You just have to have a computer. Set up HomeFundIt and start talking to family and friends about bringing gift funds in. You can run it as long as you want. It works with any loan program except for HFA bond type programs. And if you boil it down into an elevator pitch, really easy to share with your client, just say, hey, we've got online down payment gifting where anyone can give, a special program called HomeFundIt. Really different than traditional gifting. You got to go get gift letters and you got to go get paper checks, and not everybody can give. With HomeFundIt, totally different. We move the process online and we let anybody give. It sets up very, very easily. Buyer just goes through a few simple setup screens. In about 2 minutes, they've got a campaign page that they can share with their family and friends. As you can see here, those campaign pages look like everything. Family, friends, weddings, graduations, crazy stuff, dogs, cats, fish, everything in the world we've seen on these campaign pages. It's whatever resonates with their family and friends, and they just share that page out any way they want to. As you can see, they can customize that picture and the title of their campaign. There's a nice little default story that they can customize. The loan officer and real estate agent, both featured on the campaign page. Up in the upper right-hand corner is where people donate. There's a second way to add funds to a campaign. It's called Up-It. We'll talk about that in just a second. And you can see where all the gifts are coming in the bottom right. And this goes way down the page, the bigger the campaign is. We match those gifts coming in 2 to 1, up to the lesser of $2,000 or 1% of purchase price. We apply that as a lender credit at closing. So pretty much everybody hits that $2,000 really easily. There are 2 requirements to get to $2,000. One, you got to be a first-time buyer to get to $2,000. We use the 3-year Fannie Mae rule. Only one person has to be a first-time buyer. Number 2, and it is a biggie, home buyer ed prior to signing a purchase contract. Prior, that means if you're already in contract, you can't get to $2,000. Prior to signing a purchase contract. Super easy. You can start it right from your campaign dashboard. I'll show you where. It's a free 1-hour over-the-phone based system with GreenPath, Monday through Friday Eastern time. Usually you can do it same day or next day, or you can use a HUD-approved online course, HUD-approved online course. But you have to do this before signing a purchase contract. Please don't miss that. I have a sad conversation probably once a week with somebody who didn't get it done in time, and then they missed out on $2,000. So it's an easy one. Just get it done before you sign a purchase contract. They're good for a full year. Now, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer to use the platform. Anybody can use it. We don't get a lot of move-up buyers using the platform. It does happen. There's probably always some in there. But generally speaking, most of this, and down payment gifting is kind of a first-time buyer thing. So that's the HomeFundIt lender credit gift match, $2,000. Now, we stack a lot of these, and we have an exclusive ability to stack these with Borrow Smart. Borrow Smart's Freddie Mac's program for people who make less than 100% of the area median income. You can basically get free money, $500 to $1,500, depending on your income bracket, towards either down payment or closing costs. It does require its own home buyer ed. That'll count for the home buyer ed for HomeFundIt, but not the other way around. You got to use the Borrow Smart one if you're doing Borrow Smart. But it's a great combination. We stack a ton of these together. First-time buyers tend to make a little less money, so a lot of times they're going to qualify for Borrow Smart. It uses Home Possible, the 3% down payment program. So wherever you can, you definitely want to check to see if they're also eligible for Borrow Smart, because it's a great way to stack. Second way to add funds to a campaign, it's by shopping. It's called Up-It. You just click in on the campaign page. It's right on every campaign page, and it opens up all these online retailers. Each one of them rebates a certain percentage of what gets spent back to the down payment as a pledge at closing. So it's a retention feature. They got to close to get those Up-It rebate dollars. It averages about 7.5%, 7.6%. It ranges all over the place depending on which store you're shopping at and what you're buying at that store. But all the stores you know and love are in here. Home Depot, 8% back. And on that rebate pledge, we match those rebate pledges 2-to-1 as well towards that $2,000 lender credit. So think of it as a second way to hit the 2,000. You can do it by gifting or you can do it by shopping. We've got a nifty little Chrome extension that everybody in the family can install on their Chrome browser. And that makes it so that when you hit one of those stores, even if you don't even know they're an Up-It partner, it pops up automatically and applies the rebate to the campaign of choice. So you never forget to help somebody with their down payment. Third way to hit that $2,000 is by sharing your campaign on social. We got a lot of folks who like to share out on their social network. So we give you $10 per person per platform per day towards your $2,000 lender credit. It's a third way to hit that 2,000. So you could share on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, get $30. Your friend can come over to your campaign page, share your page, $30 that way. So it's a great way to quickly work your way towards that 2,000 in addition to gifting and shopping. So they all three contribute to that 2,000. Campaign dashboard. When your buyer gets set up, they've got a nice little campaign dashboard that controls their campaign. There's a nice little to-do list here that explains everything they need to do, including starting that home buyer ed. One of my favorite things here is email family and friends. A lot of folks don't like to share on social, so they go here to this email family and friends, hit the go button, and that opens up a bunch of really nicely written emails that they can copy and paste into an email, invite their family and friends to come by their campaign page. And of course, they can change everything around on their campaign page by working through these different items on here. So great little dashboard. Now, administrative thing, 2 tracks on HomeFundIt. One is the Freddie Mac track. The other is the non-Freddie Mac track. We got a special deal with Freddie Mac. But on non-Freddie Mac deals, so this is all different types of loans. So conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, non-QM, renovation, seasoning is required. So unless the loan is going to Freddie Mac, seasoning is required on that loan. Remember, no time limits on these deals. You can set up, you can shop with Up-It for a while, start fundraising anytime you want. Typically that runs about 4 to 12 weeks from the time they start talking to family and friends, but they can go as long as they want. And make sure you get your home buyer ed done before you get out there and start house hunting and get into contract. And because seasoning is required on these funds, what you want to do is dump the funds into your bank account for seasoning. They have to season in the bank account. Typically that process is 2 bank statements, right? So you want to get those funds in before the last 2 bank statements. So it's going to be more than 60 days in general. Sometimes on FHA, you can luck out and they only call for 1 bank statement, right? So you can get it a little closer than 60 days sometimes. Just depends on all that timing. But the moral of the story here is start early. Don't wait and do your fundraising, like 3 weeks before you close, and then you don't have time to season those funds. So start these campaigns early. I'll show you another reason why you're going to want to do that here pretty soon. So season those funds, you're going to close, et cetera. Get your $2,000 lender credit, Up-It funds, et cetera. Now, if you are in one of those jam situations, you don't have time to season those funds, you can hold them in the campaign until after closing. You can't use them in the transaction if they're not seasoned, but you can hold them in the campaign until after closing. You just ACH them to yourself after closing. You still qualify for the $2,000 lender credit. Just can't use those gifted funds in the transaction. You can use them for all the expenses that you have after you buy a house, which are enormous. So whichever way you do it, whether you season or whether you hold and ACH after, you'd still qualify for the $2,000. More and more folks are starting earlier for some reasons I'm going to talk about, and that's why we're seeing more and more seasoning happening. Now with Freddie Mac, we got a special deal. No seasoning is required. You can set your campaign, run it as long as you want, fundraise as long as you want. Make sure you get your home buyer ed done before you get into contract. That's like the 6th time I've said that, right? And there's a reason. Home buyer ed before contract, submit your loan application, close, you're going to get your $2,000. And the gift funds on Freddie Mac deals are wired at closing. Submit your wire request 48 hours before closing, and the funds are automatically wired. This is the easiest way to do it. If you can do a Freddie Mac deal, that's Freddie Mac Conventional, Freddie Mac Home Possible, 3% down, or Choice Renovation also works this way. So you can fundraise right down to the wire. Everything is automatic. HomeFundIt, we've done over 2,000 of these now. This slide's a little out of date already, but we've seen pretty much everything. It works with all loan programs except for HFA and bond programs. And so we see it go out with everything, including the all-in-one occasionally. HomeFundIt top 10 campaigns, some very large ones. I think our record is 44,005, this top one here, but there's lots more now that are in the top 10 versus this list here. What I'd say is the sweet spot campaign, though, is 5 to 15,000, 5 to 15 donors. These are easy to hit if you've got a good-looking, well-shared campaign. This is an example. Couple had recently got married. They were wishing they had found out about HomeFundIt before their wedding, but they found out about it after their wedding. They went back to the same people who came to the wedding thinking nobody will give because we already got wedding presents. And lo and behold, 13 people jumped in and helped with that down payment. That shows you how much people want to help people achieve those life goals. They got about $11,000 on this campaign. So I would call this a sweet spot campaign, very quick, well shared, and high impact campaign. So that's what we love to see. Someone sets up, shares with family and friends, and then bam, that's pretty much how these go. But the most important part of this is the number of people that give to these campaigns, because those 13 people now were part of helping this couple buy a house. And that's what we call the HomeFundIt network effect. With a typical home purchase, you've really only got 4 main players who are helping with that purchase: the loan officer, realtor, seller, and the buyer. And everybody's doing it on their own, kind of, right? But with HomeFundIt, you've got all these donors who are helping that buyer buy the house. In the last case, it was 13 donors on that campaign. All those donors now experience HomeFundIt, the loan officer, the real estate agent, right? And all those donors then have their own networks. They go out and talk to their family and their friends about how they helped their friend buy this house with this cool thing called HomeFundIt. And here's the loan officer and the real estate agent that you want to talk to. Those people go out and they drive referral business back to the loan officer and the real estate agent. They are a referral network for you. So how do you get all these donors to help your buyer with that? Well, one thing is you don't jam them at the very end, because you're going to get one donor named mom and dad, right? And if you start early, start the camp, remember there's no time limit. You can start these campaigns as early as you want. You get more of this kind of sharing going on. Your buyer works it into their life comfortably. When grandma comes to visit, when they're out with their family and friends, they whip out their phone and they say, hey, check out this thing we're doing called HomeFundIt, right? And there's more time for them to comfortably talk to the people that are meaningful in their life. And those people become donors in many, many cases. And those people become your referral network, because they go out and they talk about this cool thing called HomeFundIt. That's the HomeFundIt network effect. We see downstream referral business coming in on these campaigns, particularly the longer ones that have time to build a donor network, right? Again, if you jam your buyer at the end, you're going to get what you got before, which is one gift from mom and dad. I guarantee it. We see it all day long. But if you start these campaigns early, the minute you can tell someone is thinking about buying a house, they could be in college, as we'll see here in a minute. Those people will work it into their life because they know that they need the funds, and they know people who will want to help: the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, the siblings, the college roommates, all of those people. If you give your buyer time, they will generate that donor network for you. And what we're doing is we're marketing back to that donor network on funding at 1 month, at 3 months, and at 1 year out from the purchase. We send an email to all those donors featuring the loan officer and the real estate agent saying, thank you again, we couldn't have done this without you. And by the way, here's the team that helped us do it. Those people, the more donors you have, the more of that referral business. And we encourage that through these follow-up emails over the course of a year after purchasing. So it guarantees you're going to get referral business. So the more time you have, the more donors you have, the more referral business you get. How do you get this out there to your customers? We've got a great tool called the Real Estate Agent Portal, which allows a realtor to introduce clients to HomeFundIt. It sets up super easy. It's got some great marketing tools in it, videos and follow-up emails, automated nurture marketing, activity notifications, plus all your branding. As you can see here, it's got your branding in the upper right-hand corner. It's got your picture and contact information. It's got a big green button where you start a HomeFundIt campaign. It's got a place where clients can ask you a question. It goes right to your email. There's video that explains how the program works. There is an active and successful campaigns tab that features all the campaigns that are linked to you. These are live. You can click right into them from here. So it's a great showcase to introduce more buyers to the idea of building a bigger down payment. Now, If you're in one of the 40 states that allows for realtor fee negotiation or basically helping with closing costs, and you would know if you were able to do that, you can do a dollar for dollar match as a realtor or real estate agent up to any cap that you want. And so basically when they raise funds, they're going to see your match pop in right here. It's a little free publicity, but the real reason you're doing this is you're incentivizing your buyer to go out and raise funds, to talk to their family and friends, because they can then go and say, hey, my real estate agent is matching dollar for dollar and my lender is matching 2 for 1. Wow, great. I'll help you with a little bit of a down payment. And that encourages them to go out and find more donors, people in their life that do want to help. That's good for you. Why? As we just saw, that's a referral network you're building. So these matches are fantastic. You don't have to cap it at some stratospheric level. Put it in a reasonable level, and something you would do to help with closing costs anyway. This is just a better way to do it because it generates referral business for you. Whereas just helping with closing costs at the end normally doesn't necessarily help you generate a whole lot more referral value than if you didn't help. So bottom line is try to do a match if you can possibly do it. Marketing Center, inside your portal, there are downloadable social graphics as well as testimonial videos that you can share out there. The cool thing about these testimonial videos is that they come in a branded video player that has your branding automatically applied by the portal right on the video. So wherever this goes, your branding is going to go right with it. Super easy to share these. And of course, people can connect with you right away when they see this video. So share these videos out and they're going to generate conversations. There's all different types of stories in there on these videos. I tell people, share one of these on a Friday and get it in front of all kinds of people who are looking for a house or hoping to buy a house down the road. You can see my branding on this test one here. I'm just going to click the share link underneath, and that opens up a share on Facebook because I'm logged into Facebook. And I'm just going to put a little call to action copy at the top here. I'm going to show you how to get that so you don't even have to think that up. And then you just hit the post button and it goes right in your social media timeline. Couldn't be easier to do your marketing for the weekend. And it's a video, very intrusive, and probably one of the best things that you can share because it shows how people are being helped by the program. So people are going to want to find out more about that. Just had a quick question. Is there a way to make a QR code? Yes. In every campaign, in that campaign dashboard, in one of those to-do list items, there is a place to make a QR code for your campaign page. So it's super easy to make those. It's built right into the program. And as you guys know, if you're on Facebook posting stuff, you can boost that to all kinds of folks. Inside your portal, there's a do-it-yourself Facebook marketing kit. And for each one of those videos, there's a corresponding page that has a whole bunch of suggested copy for your post. So all you got to do is plagiarize the copy off that page, stick it at the top of the post, hit the post button, and you're good to go. Don't even have to be able to think up anything call to action. They're custom written for each one of those videos. Easy to get one of these portals. Just go to realtor.homefundit.com, put in your name, email, pick a password, put in some information about your company, pick a name for your site, upload your logo and your picture, write a little about me statement, and choose the loan officer that you work with. Couldn't be easier. And then the important thing, set a matching pledge if you can, if you're in one of those 40 states. Again, I highly recommend this because this drives donors, which drives referral business for you. And you can cap it at any amount that you want. Weekly email statements. Your buyer gets a nurture email every single week with an update on their campaign status. You will also get one as a real estate agent, and the loan officers get them too. And the loan officer ones will show any realtor portal and activity that's occurring in your system. Activity triggered emails. Anytime somebody shares, shops, or donates, there's an activity triggered email that goes out. Be sure to sign up for one of these. Again, take you 2 minutes to get this set up. Realtor.homefundit.com. Loan officers, inside your Domo reporting system, there is a campaign tracker that has data on all of your campaigns, the ones that have loans attached to them, and it'll show all the amounts raised and how many times they've shared, etc. Okay, here's the juicy part. These are 6 business building opportunities that we are seeing loan officers and real estate agents use with HomeFundIt to build their pipelines. So you're going to grab a pencil and write these down as you go through, because these are the ones that are working. I'll show you what's working. Number 1 is totally working. Weddings. This is a slam dunk. You guys know 65% of people getting married will buy a house together within 48 months of getting married. That's amazing. So that means that people getting married are going to be future home buyers. We know this, right? This isn't rocket science, but it just says, hey, that is a group that you can target with HomeFundIt, especially since you don't need to wait until they're shopping for a house to start working with them. They can set up a HomeFundIt campaign. Well, they can let their wedding guests help them with their down payment. It's the perfect opportunity. People getting married today don't need more stuff. They have all the stuff they need. They need a house. They want to check that house box after they get married at some point. So this is the perfect opportunity to let the wedding guests help them. They can tell their wedding guests, hey, my lender is matching us 2-to-1 and my real estate agent is matching us 1-to-1. We're doing a house fund instead of getting more stuff. Did you guys know that cash funds are now up to about 40-45% of weddings instead of registries? We are kind of the anti-registry, right? Do this instead of getting more stuff. Don't get tangled up with the registry. Do this instead. People are putting QR codes, mentioned the QR code perfectly, and putting that on their save the date announcements. They're putting that right on their wedding announcement, saying, hey, we're doing a down payment fund instead. Wedding guests are much more interested in helping with the down payment than they are buying an appliance. Trust me. And we have great marketing support on this part of the program. There's been tons of flyers and social graphics and emails built for this. We actually have a best practices kit for wedding expos. So if you're going to grab a table at a wedding expo, we had one in Arizona where the loan officer picked up 96 warm leads that afternoon that want to do HomeFundIt and use this for their instead of a wedding registry. So these can be very, very successful. We've seen a lot of great success in this area. Okay, number 2, the next gen buyer. Again, the beauty of HomeFundIt is that you can start these as early as you want. You don't have to have a loan in process. Great example here, a young lady who is at Clemson, heard about it from her dad, the guy in the purple shirt here. He's a real estate agent, actually, out in the Nashville area, works with our top loan officer. And he went home, talked to his daughter, said, hey, I just found out about this thing called HomeFundIt, explained it. She said, yeah, let's get that set up. She was a junior at Clemson, graduated after her last year. She put a QR code in her graduation announcement and said, hey, instead of sending me presents and stuff for graduation, I'm trying to build a down payment for a house. And by the way, any dollar you give me is worth $3 because I get a match. She had a house by November. So fantastic opportunity to kind of tap into that next gen buyer. Normally, your pitch with a older client who has kids is call me when your kids are ready to buy a house, right? So there's this big gap of time and then hopefully the phone rings, right? Now you can reach that older client and say, hey, let's get your kids set up today on a HomeFundIt. And the whole family can work on filling that HomeFundIt over time. Doesn't matter how long, and they'll be that much more ready to buy a house. So this is a fantastic opportunity. Loan officers in Domo, guess what? We've built a report that shows all your past loans and the ages of the dependents listed on those loans. This is your call list. Go back to these folks and say, hey, how are the kids doing? When do they think they're going to plan to buy a house? Let's get them started on HomeFundIt. So this is an actionable way that you can start building your pipeline in that area right away. Number 3, buyers who need time. This is the trash to treasure strategy, right? There are, as we've seen, 10 times as many people on the sidelines as there are in the marketplace. Inventory, can't find the house they want. They got life issues they got to deal with. There's a laundry list of that kind of thing. All kinds of buyers out there that other agents have given up on. Turn downs, credit repair situations. They need time to develop income, employment, savings, etc. All kinds of reasons, right? It doesn't matter what the reason is, they can all start HomeFundIt because guess what? They all need a bigger down payment. Have you ever met a first-time buyer that couldn't use a larger one? No, I guarantee you haven't. So set them up on a HomeFundIt campaign. They can run it as long as they want. You can start working with them today instead of waiting for them to call you in 3, 6, 9, 12 months, 24 months, however long that happens to be, right? So you can start working that right now. Opportunity 4, and this is one of my favorites right now, renovation. You know, there's a shortage of inventory out there to start with, and first-time buyers have a tendency to pass up on houses that need help. right? They need a little bit of love. They want a house that kind of works right away. However, given how short inventory is, this is a great opportunity to work with a buyer and say, hey, look, we could take a look at some of these renovation properties. We've got a fantastic renovation loan team here at CMG. And you know what? The HomeFundIt campaign story for a fixer-upper project is a wonderful one. You can go to your family and friends and say, hey, we couldn't find the house we wanted, but we were thinking about, doing a fixer-upper, and we'd love your help with that. And by the way, our lender is matching 2 to 1, and our real estate agent's matching 1 to 1, so that we can get into this fixer-upper, get it fixed. It's a fantastic story, kind of a barn raising type story. So give renovation some consideration. And if you've got a first-time buyer who is just kind of freaked out about the inventory situation, this may be a great solution to them. And HomeFundIt makes it a really cool team effort to take one of these and renovate it. Opportunity 5, organizations. A lot of you guys are familiar with companies who are out there that want to help their people with home ownership. We've got an affinity portal that organization can set up and create a starting place for their people to raise a bigger down payment. The company can match right into it. They can link it right to their HR platform. It's got some fantastic marketing tools built right into it that the HR department or the admins at that company can send out to their people. It's a great way to tap into a big group of home buyers, because you can do home buyer events for that organization. Probably one of our best ones right now is an organization called Hamra Enterprises. They are, you don't know the company name, but you know their franchises, Wendy's, Panera, and Noodles & Company. They have 20,000 employees. They have 3 HomeFundIt portals, probably 60 campaigns running right now. They're helping their people with the down payment, anywhere up to $2,500 per person. We work with them very, very closely. We do regular home buyer events to educate the people. They're basically people working at Wendy's and Panera and Noodles. And so it's a fantastic way to kind of work with a company that wants to put some skin in the game. We've got hospital chains in the Southeast. We've got educational facilities like Graceland University that uses it. We've even got builders that are using these as a way to hold on to buyers. So if you work with any organization, it doesn't have to be a for-profit. It could even be a nonprofit that wants to help. See me, kind of introduce them to the idea, and then we can all do a joint meeting where we really go and listen to kind of what they need in terms of helping their people. And then opportunity 6 is kind of a cross between the wedding expo opportunity and the affinity portal opportunity that we just talked about. When you go to a wedding expo, you're surrounded by vendors who are also trying to sell to the same group of people you're trying to sell to, which are future homeowners, people getting married, right? Well, they can set up affinity portals of their own, offer a match of their own. A wedding planner could offer a $500 match. They can wave around our $2,000 match on top of that. It makes them way more competitive than the next wedding planner. So if you want to build partners in this wedding space, these affinity portals are fantastic ways to do it. Kudos to our Colorado team who's out there really hitting this one. We've got some great flyers on that too. Allows you to offer more value to the clients of those folks. Today, when you're meeting a customer in the traditional sense, you're waiting while they finish up this long journey of getting ready to buy a house. And then they call and they say, hey, I need a loan officer, I need a real estate agent. Well, with HomeFundIt, you can start that journey as early as when you find out they're dreaming of buying a house someday. It doesn't matter when. You're not in control of that timeline anyway. They are, right? But what you are in control of is when you can start the relationship. And that's when you start them on those HomeFundIt pages. In all cases, they're going to get done sooner because they're getting help from outside, right? And shopping and things like that. They're going to get done sooner. So you're speeding them up and you're taking a deal off the table that your competitors can no longer have. In my 23 years in the industry, I have never seen a tool as strategic as this one, where you can jump the line and get in front of all your competitors and lock up customers today in a meaningful way, not just sending them emails for the next 2 years, but actually helping them build a bigger down payment and solve the number one problem they're going to have for the next 2 years, right? That's hugely strategic. It's a win for the buyer. It's a win for you. So this is a great tool, and you just have to stop looking only at deals that are coming in now. I got a buyer, to hey, let's go find the buyers, right? They're out there. They're just on the sidelines. 10 times as many of them as there are in the market. it all boils down to getting people on these campaign pages. And that's pretty darn easy. So it can help your buyer get done sooner. It can help you lock up these long-range buyers so that your competitors can't have them. And it helps you generate these exponential referrals down the road because you're building this donor network that now knows about you and this cool program. And for your clients, it's a game changer. When you show them, hey, we've got online down payment gifting where anyone can give. We've taken the friction out of the process and let anybody help. That opens up all kinds of doors for your client. And there's two ways to do that. We've got some great resources in the chat. I'm going to hit the enter button here. And in the chat, there is a link now to the HomeFundIt starter kit, which has a bunch of these items in it. There are co-brandable flyers that the loan officers can access on Surefire as well. So that's not in the kit, it's on Surefire. But the kit has some great stuff you want to get started with. The cheat sheet, that's in the kit. If you have trouble with that link for some reason, try just copy pasting it directly into a browser instead of clicking it. Or you can email me after the meeting and I'll see if I can send it to you again if you have trouble with it. So to-do steps, set up a realtor portal if you're a real estate agent, and then kind of work this into every first-time buyer discussion. Talking with our top HomeFundIt loan officer the other day, he is probably approaching 400 HomeFundIts now, it's in every first-time buyer discussion. It's never not in the discussion. It's always there. And start early. And when you look at the best HomeFundIt producers, they are stacking them up like planes landing at an airport. They're way out there sometimes. But more time is more donors is more referrals, and that puts more planes in the landing pattern. So start early. That's the number one thing I can say. And number two, you have to kind of retrain, the radar so that it's not just focused on people who are in the market today, but who's in the market in the future. Because those folks can become your customer right now. And even little things like sharing those testimonial videos, putting links to your portals in your signature block, ideas like that can also help get the word out. And that's HomeFundIt, the platform itself, the real estate agent portal, those strategies for building your business. We're here every Friday at 10. We do these training meetings. I don't have one next Friday, unfortunately, but we'll be back after that for the foreseeable future at Friday at 10. If you'd like to do a dedicated training for your branch and your real estate office, happy to do those pretty much anytime. I do several of those a week. So see me and we can get that set up on pretty short order. My contact information is at the bottom. If you have questions, be sure to throw that in the chat. I'll do those right now. And we'll stick around as long as you guys would like. Be sure to grab that starter kit link that's in there as well. Agent's name, would love to see media posts. Okay, so the guy who's the number one at CMG is Mark David. He will be in a panel at our Nashville meeting here coming up this next weekend. And I think he's on the Saturday panel. But he is the top one. He's up in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Sorry about the link. Takes me to Google search. Ooh, yeah, I've never seen that before. Shoot me an email and I will send you back a link on email. Sometimes it works a little better. I don't know what it is about the chat here, but it's not friendly to that link for some reason, maybe because it's so long. How do we find out what states qualify for agent contributions? Generally, there are 10 states in the mid-south, southeast area that don't allow for agent contributions. They're kind of there, plus Oregon is also one of the states. There is a link when you're setting up a realtor portal, there's a link there. I can also send you the link. If you can help with closing costs today, you're fine. If you cannot help with closing costs today or modify your commission, you're probably not fine. You're probably in one of those south central states and Oregon. But if you're not setting up a realtor portal, if you're setting up a realtor portal, there is a link though. That'll take you to that list. Okay, I don't see any other questions here. If you guys have questions, feel free to throw them in. And I don't see any more. So I'll kind of wrap up here. So again, thank you guys for being on the call and appreciate all the good questions and everything. And we will see you out there on the HomeFundIt trail in the days and weeks ahead. Take care, everybody. Bye.